Hello, and welcome to the 14.2 kickoff video for GitLab Geo. I'm Nick Wynn, Engineering Manager and Acting Product Manager for the Geo team. In 14.1, we made a lot of progress on some key roadmap items, and the main theme for 14.2 is to finish these items and prepare them for release. First thing I'll highlight is our work to verify all blob replicators. As we move our disaster recovery capabilities from viable to complete, an important aspect of improving this maturity is to ensure that Geo verifies the data integrity of everything it replicates. Geo currently verifies around 45% of the data it replicates, and in 14.2, we plan to increase this coverage by releasing verification for replicated LFS objects and external MR diffs. Next, I want to highlight what we're calling secondary mimicry. In the last couple of releases, we've made a lot of progress towards making a secondary site indistinguishable to developers. Right now, if you go to the web UI on a secondary site, it's very clear that it's read-only, and we want to make it behave more like a primary site. So in 14.2, we're going to make sure we thoroughly test this functionality internally before releasing the MVC. And this gets us closer to being able to support putting primary and secondary sites behind a single load balance URL, which will ultimately make the experience of using Geo more seamless for distributed teams. Next, we're going to be working on a single command that can be run on any node to promote a secondary to a primary. Currently, failing over requires updating configuration and running commands on each node. This can be pretty time-consuming for large environments, and it's possible to script the existing process, but can still be pretty complex. So with this single command, it will recognize what type of node it's being run on, update the appropriate configuration, and do the required steps to promote that node from a secondary to a primary. Not only does this save time for system administrators if performing the promotion steps manually, but it also makes the process simpler to script and automate. And finally, I want to highlight some work we're doing in collaboration with our quality counterpart. We're hoping to use the GitLab environment toolkit to run our QA pipelines against Geo environments. In the past, we've run end-to-end tests using a Docker and Docker approach, which simulates a pretty basic single node Geo setup. But the reality is that many Geo customers run complex multi-node environments, and we need to ensure that we're testing Geo, not just the replication functionality, but also setup and processes such as failovers on environments that more closely resemble what our customers are using in production. With the GitLab environment toolkit now supporting deployment of reference architectures with Geo, we can use this to automate deployment and testing of these more complex environments in our QA pipelines. In 14.2, we're going to iterate on this by starting with adding the ability to manually trigger a job that builds a Geo environment with the GET, the GitLab environment toolkit, alongside our existing manual package and QA job. And then after that, we'll go from there and follow up with adding stages to GitLab QA Mirror to spin up and destroy a 1K Geo install. And then we'll update the EE Geo job to run against this instance instead of the Docker images. That does it for our 14.2 highlights. As always, we work iteratively and in a continuous style, and things can always change. So I encourage you to follow along in our various issues and epics with the group Geo label. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next time.